Hello and welcome. This is a character profile video for the class Kunoichi. And what you're going to see in this video is all of her skills, the top 8 PvE and PvP skills that I recommend. You'll see her enhancements, her player card, and I'll even show you some gameplay so you can see how she fights and what she's like. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it and show you all of her skills. Here we go. Okay, here are all of her skills, and if you're new to this screen, I'll go ahead and explain it real quick. From the very left is all the skills that she has, and the next column is charges, or how many times you can use that skill. And the next one is hits, which is how many times the skill will hit an opponent. And then the next column is the damage percentage in PvE and PvP. So when you get your character, your own Kunoichi, if you see that there's a skill that says like 200 times 5 or something like that, I did the math for you to show you the totals, so you wouldn't have to. So it's just a good visual of what your strongest skills are. And then on the far right is the specials that go with it. What makes this screen special is the very bottom right corner, Art of the Ninja, very last one at the bottom. Look all the way over to the right where it says applies severe bleed effect. I highlighted severe bleed in purple so that you can see that the 3 skills where a bleed effect occurs when you use that skill. So Shadow Geyser, Cripple, and Touch of Death. So not only does those three skills do what they do, but there's a bleed on top of that that affects the opponent you're fighting, the monster or player, whatever. So go ahead and take a look at that, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next screen, which is the top PvE skills that I recommend. I will see you there. Here we go. Alright, here is the PvE skills, and if you're new to this one, this screen, what you're looking at is I took the top 8 skills that you can bring in to a fight, and I highlighted them in green, but I organized it according to the highest damage going down. So I also want to bring your attention to pay attention to this skill screen. There's something special here. This is not one of those, oh, you have 5 to 15 skills at your disposal, they all damage and kick butt and rah rah rah. No, not at all. You have to look and see that 2 of her skills, the Touch of Death and the Shadow Plume, are your biggest heavy damaging skills. But the thing is that's not also the special skills that you have. You also have you have the suplex, which will grab your opponent. You also have the cripple, which knocks him back. You know, you got different skills in your toolbox to complement the 2 heavy hitters that you have. So as you move forward and try all these out, see what works best for you. But for this character, I'll go into more detail on the on the player card what I'm talking about. But for here, just know that this is what's recommended for the monsters out there. And now we're going to look at the PvP skills. Here we go. As you can see on the PvP skills, it hasn't changed. The Touch of Death and the Shadow Plume are still your right, left, very heavy hitting skills. But also notice that you're in PvP, which means everyone out there is going to have super armor. Everyone out there is going to want to grab you or drag you or stun you. Anything that they can to disable you. But you're not one of those people that can be easily stunned or taken advantage of because of all the tools that you have. So I also want to point out and hint at, look at the, where to go. It is the Shadow Geyser. You knock them up on the very first hit. I know it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it applies a bleed, knocks them up, and can connect into other skills that you can hit hard with. So Shadow Geyser to Touch of Death, to Shadow Plume, back to Suplex, maybe a cripple in there. There's a lot of variety you can do in the PvP arena with your skills, and that's what makes her special. Is she can do a lot of start and combinations to your liking, quite honestly, whatever looks good to you or feels good. But understand, she's not one of those stand in one place and just deliver the pain. You got to get creative, and people are going to notice you for it. So let's go ahead and move on to the enhancement screen, and I'll show you what that's all about. Here we go. Alright, now we are on the enhancement screen, and I gotta tell you, when I was putting this all together, it was amazing. I think this might be the first character that has the fewest enhancements, but they complemented the character with more branch damage abilities. So I'll show you how that's all put together on the player card, but just take a moment. If this is the first time on this screen, the left side obviously is all your skills. The first, second, and last column, fourth column, are supposed to be things that work for you. The third column, I try to make that what affects your opponent. So if you look at the second skill for Shadow Plume, and the third column over, it's 60 damage every second for 3 seconds is what you'll do when you hit your opponent with this skill. And then again, looking down, target AP minus 20 for 10 seconds. Their move speed is reduced. Another one with target DP minus 20. These things do make a difference, but are kind of like icing on the cake when you are going into your combinations and just having a good time. So don't bother with the fact that the enhancements are few, because I have seen some characters where they just load them up on enhancements. It's really challenging to fit it all on the screen. But let's go ahead and move on to the player card. So when you're ready, go ahead and move on to the next screen, and I will see you there. Alright, if this is the first time that you're seeing the player card, I will briefly go over it. At the very top left is the top 8 PvE skills I recommended. Then next to it is the PvP skills, the top 8. Next to that, on the right, is something new. I took all the skills, and I wanted to show you what skill immobilizes your opponent. So what you're looking at is 8 skills that are listed in green that have an immobilization to them, which means knock down, knock up, stun. I don't consider knockback an immobilization because of the animation, the frames. You knock them back, maybe they can just dodge out of that and go to work on you. But if you knock them down or knock them up, there's the animation of getting up, and you can just go into your combination from there and just really make the difference and do damage. So Shadow Geyser is the skill that has 2 immobilizations to it. It knocks them up on the first hit, knocks them down on the last hit, and you recover 10 MP on hit. But that is the one to think about adding into your combinations. All the others, the rest of them do have a component to it, and chances are you want to choose one that has super armor so that they can't stun you while you're trying to do your combination on them, because you know they're going to have super armor as well. So anything that you do that is a stun won't work on them, so you just got to get creative. So below that is all the skills that you saw on the previous slide. and the enhancements below that is what you saw in the previous slide. So the way that I do the player card is, if you're familiar with my videos, you're like, okay, new character, yeah, let me just zip right over to the player card and see what they have and see if I like what I see. So here, when I was putting this video together and looking at everything that Kunoichi has, I noticed, I was like, okay, so Touch of Death and Shadow Plume are the heavy hitting that I mentioned before. I want super armor skills, so we're gonna probably throw in, you know, the cripple. Maybe I definitely want to grab, so a suplex, and probably the what was it, the it was, yeah, and Shadow Geyser, knocking them up on the first hit. That's what counts. If you knock them up on the first hit and they don't have their super armor going, then you can get your combination going. And while they're trying to get up, just go to town on them with your Touch of Death and Shadow Plume. But I also want to bring your attention to this. I noticed when I was doing the enhancements, if you look at Touch of Death, that it has Owl and Surette branch damage. You want Owl. You want Owl damage to the max. When you hit with Touch of Death at 1144% damage, Owl is going to make it much higher than that. So when you hit hard. So I recommend you put all of your branch damage for that skill into Owl. Surette is affecting more than just one people, and you're not an AoE specialist. You're a single one-on-one type person. If you specialize that way, you'll be definitely unique and may have to run around a lot, but that's my recommendation for Touch of Death is Owl. I wanted it for Shadow Plume, but that's not the way that they developed the character. If you look at Shadow Plume and enhancements, you have a choice of La Breve or Surette. And again, I'm not recommending Surette, I'm recommending La Breve, which is critical hit. So what you got there is your heavy, hard-hitting Touch of Death and your critical hit Shadow Plume. And that is a really well-balanced combination, while you use the rest of your skills to grab them or stun them and protect yourself with super armor. It's all up to you on what you want to do. I personally like the smoke screen skill. I like the hit them and get out, and then try to disable them again, hit them hard and get out. You'll be very effective. But this is why I did the player card, so you can come up with ideas on your own. But that's my recommendation is Owl for Touch of Death and La Breve for Shadow Plume. So with that, we're gonna change the music. It's gonna go into some gameplay. So I want to show you what she's like out in the game and how she fights, and all of the top 8 PvE skills I have shown you here is what she's going to be using. So with that, we'll turn it over to the gameplay and enjoy. Here we go. Alright, here's the gameplay section of this video. So first, let's show you where we're at. We're over in Balanos, and we are in Kron Castle entrance. So this is where we're at, and it's only because we wanted the CP for the monsters to be pretty easy. So that's how much theirs is, and this is how much ours is, and clearly she could take care of it. So we have a auto path to where we always go when we do our farming speeds, but for this it's just straight up fun. I want you to see what she's like and enjoy all of her skills are being displayed, and of course all the top 8 PvE skills are put in. So let's get this going. We'll click auto path and away she goes. So at the end of this, I think I have it going for about 4 minutes, just so you can get a really good idea of how she fights. We'll conclude the video. I'm also gonna turn up the volume at this point so you can hear her a little bit better. Or I just want to talk for a bit. Here we go. Alright, looks like we're about to wrap up the gameplay section of this video, so we'll just go ahead and go back to town. And I really hope that you liked the way that she fights. There were a lot of... there's moves where she just goes so fast. I think that was the #1 comment that I heard from everyone, is she's very fast, so that is something to be feared. You should be happy to see that. So with that, we'll just swing the camera around and I'll go ahead and give my outro. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like my videos, please subscribe, like, and I'm always making more, so let people know. And until then, thank you again. You have a great day. Talk to you then. Bye now.